welcome to Marshmallow Reads. Today I'm going to show you all the books that I currently own but have not read yet. I've been trying to tell myself that I really should stop buying more books until I finish the ones I already own. Has that stopped me from buying new books? Not really, but I should at least make a good effort to catch up. This is the stack of all the physical books that I own. I'm also going to be talking about a few that I own on Kindle or ebook. The first book on this list is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. It is a dystopian sci-fi novel. It's set on this future version of Mars where the society is broken up into these different levels, this hierarchy. At the very top, you have your golds. They're basically like the monarchy, royals, fancy people, I don't know. And then at the bottom, we have the reds, and they have been sent to colonize Mars. Really, they have been sent to forcibly work the soil. Their job is to terraform the planet, make it habitable for all of the fancier, higher classes to eventually come live on Mars. And it is grueling work. It's dangerous. And the Reds typically don't get to live very long lives. And the lives that they do live are rough. They, unless you are the Gamma family or the Gamma sector, you're not really going to get much food. Even sugar is like unheard of unless you have hit this quota that is seemingly impossible to really hit. And yeah, you follow this red miner who sees some stuff, experiences some tragedy from the very start of his life up until we meet him at the beginning of the story, and that's all I've gotten to. I'm only like 10-ish% of the way through, and it's got me hooked. I'm excited. On to the physical books. Okay. The majority of my book stacks and like pages, I guess, are from the Expanse series. So I have already read through book 5, Nemesis Games. So it's been a little while since I finished book 5, but I definitely still want to continue this series. It is one of my favorite series in general, definitely my favorite sci-fi series at the moment. I would say that Leviathan Wakes is still probably my favorite. That's the first in the series, but Nemesis Games, the 5th one, definitely is still good. Like it doesn't let up, So here I have the next 3. So we've got Babylon's Ashes, then Persepolis Rising, and then Tiamat's Wrath. To talk a little bit about what these are about in general, like this Expanse series, you're following this crew. They didn't start off in this sort of life. They didn't mean to be trying to save the universe, the galaxy, whatever, but they were roped together through circumstances that were out of their control in the first book, and they've stuck together ever since and have gone on many adventures, up to 6, 7, 8. The 9th one is coming out soon, sometime. There are aliens. I don't think they've made direct contact yet. There's alien technology that they are trying to figure out why it's here, what its purpose is. Are the aliens here? There is a interstellar gate that they still don't really know much about. What's going on in Venus? I don't know. I've got many hundreds of pages ahead of me, but it's really not a hard read. Like, I could definitely finish one of these books within a week, and I have done so, especially when I was procrastinating on reading other things for classes. So yeah, they're a fairly quick read for for the length that they are, but it is fun. I really enjoy these books and I am excited to continue the series. Next on my list, more sci-fi. Okay, these two are the continuation of the story started in 2001: A Space Odyssey. First, we have 2010 Odyssey 2. So this takes place, I guess, 9 years after the first book. There are these monoliths that we just found and we don't know how they got here, when they got here, why they're here, who put them here, no idea. So 2010 continues that investigation, and I think there are some returning characters. I'm not sure, I'll find out. After 2010, we have 2061 Odyssey 3. So this is a fair amount into the future, from 2010 to 2061. And instead of focusing on the monoliths, this one focuses on the return of Halley's Comet to one of Jupiter's moons, Europa. That's all I know at this point. I am probably gonna love it. I don't know if you can see this, but on the cover we have Hal, or at least a computer that looks like Hal. I don't know if he's actually in this, so I am excited to give this one a try. Oh, I didn't even notice this. There are monoliths on the cover as well. So I have no idea where it's going, why there's so many of them there, but I'm excited. All right, the last of the physical books, Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. So I've not actually read any of Sanderson's works. I know they tend to be on the longer side and usually more fantasy. This one is actually a YA sci-fi. Skyward is another dystopian sci-fi. I believe it is book 1 of what's going to be a 4-book series, or there's at least 4 books in the series. It follows this teen girl, Spensa, who is living on a planet with what remains of the human race. They've been almost wiped out and they are constantly being attacked by this alien starfleet. And Spensa one day finds this ancient spacecraft and she hopes that maybe she can fix it, maybe she can learn how to pilot it, and maybe she can somehow convince the ship to help her, because the ship appears to have like sentience or a soul or something like that. So it sounds like she's gonna get a cool, maybe robot friend. I don't know. I am into it. It's, on the longer side, like 500 pages, but given that it's YA, it might be a bit of a quicker read for me. That's typically how those go. And yeah, we'll see. I don't know if I'm committed to this series, to continuing this series, but if this first one is good enough, or if I like the first one enough, then maybe I will consider continuing it. So the rest of the books I have on this list I own on my Kindle, and most of these I don't remember actually purchasing. I think they were random $1 to $2 books that I got on sale through like an email notification or something like that. Probably around the time that I first got my Kindle, where I was like really excited to just collect all of the ebooks. And since then, I've definitely toned that down. I still buy some books on ebook, but I tend not to. I definitely have been taking advantage of having a pretty dope library system where I live. The next book on this list is The Good Neighbor by A.J. Banner. So this is not a sci-fi for once. It is a mystery thriller. It takes place in this small, pleasant, quaint little Washington state town. We get to see Sarah and her new doctor husband start their life together in this cute little town. It has forests and good neighbors and seems to be the stuff of dreams. Because it is a mystery thriller, we learn fairly early on that things aren't quite what they seem. And tragedy strikes Sarah. I don't know what that is. I did not read that close into the synopsis. But, bad stuff starts happening to Sarah. And she starts to learn that the people around her, her closest loved ones, may not be who they say they are, or may not be what they seem. And that is really enough to get me to read this book. I haven't been reading too many mystery thriller books recently. I have read a couple, especially in October, but I don't know. Give me mystery. I'll read it. Why not? Oh, this next one, this must have been free because it really doesn't seem like something I would have bought on my own. And it is The Book of Locke, Death's Keep. It's the first book in this series by Summer Nectarhoff. It's a horror fantasy, which is up my alley. I love horror novels, and I do tend to like fantasy as well. So in this book, there is a really drab, dark city that this takes place in. It is sad, it is dark, it is dingy, and the people there are just perpetually scared of the temple. And this temple houses these priests who don't really ever leave except to go pick up bodies. I guess they're just on the street, I don't know. And also to take the condemned to the dungeon. Don't really know what that means, but spooky priests. Okay. This book follows Locke, a young, naive thief who has no idea about the city's rules or unspoken rules. He doesn't know to steer clear of the temple or steer clear of this priesthood, so he's gonna get into trouble. Will he make it out alive? Maybe. It's the first of a series, so I think there's a good chance, but we'll have to see. Next, we have a non-fiction novel. This is I Contain Multitudes by Ed Young. I know it's been out for years now. I'm sure I bought it years ago at this point, and I don't know why I haven't read it yet. I'm legitimately excited to get to this one. I love science. I am in a STEM graduate program, and this isn't even my first science nonfiction novel. Oh, what's it called? Wait, earlier this year, I read The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks by Rebecca Skloot, and I loved it. Like, I knew of HeLa cells, I learned about them in undergrad, and I knew that they came from a person, but I didn't know who that person was until I read this book. And I highly recommend it if you have any interest in science, in cellular biology, in human rights. Let's just say permission was not asked for in the collecting of these cells. So yeah, great book, highly recommend. So yeah, I know I like these sorts of books, so I don't know why I just haven't read this one. Maybe I just haven't been in the mood. So what it's about, right? I contain multitudes. What does that mean? Well, let's just say that, as a human person, it's less of a me, more of a we. So we are home to so many bacteria, both in different species and different types of bacteria, as well as the just magnitude of number. It is really cool. If you have not really heard about this before or read too much into it, read this book. I don't know, it's probably good. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard good things. In my work, I work with pathogenic bacteria. When the average person first thinks about bacteria, their mind generally goes to pathogenic bacteria that would infect and cause disease in humans. And that's that's not the case. That's not the only bacteria that are out there. There are very good bacteria that we absolutely need to survive, that live in our gut, that are in our nose, in our ears, you know? And it's like this whole other universe that we don't really talk about much. So yeah, I'm obviously really excited about this topic. I don't know why I haven't read this. I'm probably gonna read this next after Red Rising. I just gotta do it. I'm so excited. Okay. The last two on this TBR list are graphic novels, both by Junji Ito. So we have Smashed, a story collection, a short story collection. I have read another short story collection previously to this one. The other one I read is Shiver, and I really liked this one. Not all of the short stories were my favorites. You know, that's gonna happen. But I think all of them at least were worth reading through once. And there are some others, oh boy, that really stuck with me. And oh yeah, I still sometimes close my eyes and these images are just like ingrained in my retinas, and I think that's a fun thing. So they are definitely horror. They are terrifying. They have churned my stomach. But there are some of these images, man. Oh no. So yeah, I'm very excited to check out Smashed. I know it's gonna give me nightmares and I am excited about it. And then the first full like continuation of a story is Uzumaki Spiral into Horror. This was actually the first story that I had heard about from Junji Ito, and I'm kind of scared to read it. Like, I know it's gonna be good. I know it's gonna be so good and terrifying and just will stick with me. And maybe that's why I'm a little nervous to start it. But oh well, I'm going to do it. It's going to be great. And it's a 3-in-1 graphic novel. So I think that they were originally published as a 3-part story, and this has just been combined into one. A brief summary to see if you're interested in this one at all. So like the short story collection, I have no idea what's in that one, but I'm gonna read it. But for Uzumaki, the story starts with this man who becomes ill with a disease that seemingly makes him obsessed with spirals. And it ends with his death, and they find his body contorted into this spiral shape. And then the whole town slowly starts to become infected by this disease, this mysterious spiral illness. And it's weird. Like, so when you think of spirals, there's like snails, there's man-made spirals, there are spirals in whirlpools, stuff like that. You know where else you have a spiral? In your inner ear. And I know that comes into play at some point, and I don't know if I'm ready for that, but let's go. And that's it. That concludes all of the owned books that I have not read yet and that are on my TBR now. I don't expect to finish them anytime soon, especially The Expanse. It's gonna take some time, but I'm okay. I just need to be okay with taking the time that I need, not rushing through anything, and actually enjoy what I read. And, you know, maybe let go of something if it's not really doing it for me. If you liked this video, please go ahead and click the like button. If you want to stick around and see more videos like this, go ahead and click subscribe. I plan on uploading on a weekly schedule on Thursdays, so come on by and see me every week. Goodbye. Hope you all have a great week.